Hello and welcome to Lower Back Part 1, Lower Back Love. I'm Lizzie Lasater. Teaching us today is Judith Hanson Lasater. Hi, Mama.
Hi, Lizzie. Hi, everyone. Glad you're here with us.
How are you feeling today, Mom?
Really good. Watch out.
Good news, bad news. Find your way to the chat if you're joining us live and let us know where in the world you're joining from. I want to share my screen and remind you that this is part 1 of Lower Back Love. If you're joining us live, you want to make sure you're signed up to join both parts. And you do that by going to this link here, which I'll also pop into the chat. It's our newsletter sign up link. The second session is going to be on September 10th at 6 a.m. Pacific, a bit earlier. And if you're subscribed to our newsletter, you'll automatically receive the recordings. Our next session in September is with the great Mary Richards, who we love. So let's see where people are joining from. Portland, Oregon, Berkeley, California. Jacksonville, Florida, St. Louis, Missouri. You know what I learned today, Mom? That geographically, which state do you think is bigger, Idaho or Florida?
Florida.
It's Idaho.
I should know that because Idaho was my 5th grade report. We had to do a report on the state. And I picked Idaho because its shape was so interesting.
Exactly. Okay, so our plan for today, I want to share about our newest course. It's going to take me 2 minutes to walk you through. This session today is about your lower back, and our newest course from Lasater.yoga is about your lower back. Then Mom is going to give us a moment of silence, a minute of meditation, and then start teaching. The mix today is going to be a little bit of talking about the lower back, some common misconceptions, and some things that we're doing that are causing trouble for ourselves. And then we're interested in stretching and strengthening and soothing our lower back. So we're going to get on the mat. What props do people need to have handy, Mom, for today's practice?
I think a sticky mat, if you have 2 yoga blocks and a bolster, that would be good too.
Okay, let me share
Maybe
my
a blanket
screen.
or 2.
Okay, can you
Lizzie, or I'll come up with more props.
can you see this, Mom? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are at Lasater.yoga, and this is the new course that we're celebrating with this free class series you're attending right now. It's called Love Your Lower Back, and it's available for pre-order now. I encourage you after this webinar to go to the website www.lasater.yoga, and you can read through this. There's a little video about the course explaining what it's about. The tagline is functional yoga therapy for a resilient lumbopelvic hip complex. The only other thing you need to know is that we're doing this course with the wonderful Mary Richards, who many of you know. Put in the chat if you know Mary Richards from the internet, if you've watched a YouTube video with her, if you've taken somatic strength or deep rest, or taken any of her asana labs. There's going to be 7 live Zooms this fall. So we're going to gather for all of these topics and a final Q&A session with Mom in November, just before Thanksgiving. This tells you a little bit more about the course. You can click through the curriculum to understand what you'll be learning. It's cohort based, which means we're all going to start together on October 9th. I hope you will be joining us. And on October 9th, these are the books that our Smarty Pants professors have written. It's 1 book by Mary Richards and 2 books by Mom. We'd like you to have some FAQs for you. And then I wanted to share the special pre-enrollment discount. This is going to be through October 9th. So the course is $450 if you enroll after October 9th, but it's less than that if you join us now, or you can do a payment plan if that works better for you. So any questions from the students who are live? I can see the chat right now before we move to the content of today. Oh, Mary's wonderful. Hello from Poland. Hi, Anna. Lori says she knows. Hi, Lori. Mary from Experiential Anatomy.
The great
Bev,
Mary is what I call her.
that's what we've started saying, the great Mary Richards. I love Mary. I know her from a California workshop last year, says Bev. Hi, Bev. Anyone else? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I encourage you, let me pop that link into the chat. If you just go to lasater.yoga, you'll get to the course. Let me pop this in for everyone. And then I'm going to hand it over to Mom to get us settled and get us started.
First thing we're going to do for our lower back is sit well. So sit in front of your buttocks, sit in front of your sitting bone. Your pubic bone does not go up, it goes down. It's the anchor. So drop your chin slightly. Close your eyes if you wish. I'm going to ring my bells. I'm going to sit, and I'm going to ring them again. Whenever I study yoga myself or with students, I always like to take that moment of disconnection from all the swirling things around us and into the space we know, this familiar home space that we feel. So there's so much to say about the lower back. As you can imagine, the problem is being succinct. So two thoughts. Number one, especially in Western cultures, we really stand and sit in a way that is not congruent with our structure. It's not aligned with our structure. It doesn't reflect our structure and in fact can be injurious to our structure. And the joke, it's not really a joke, but maybe slightly amusing, that if you haven't had lower back pain, you must be under 40. Lower back pain is so common. It's surprising when we meet someone who's never had a lower back incident or doesn't currently have lower back. So what we believe is that the structure tells us about the function, and we don't understand well the structure of the column. So we use it in ways, and even in yoga, and sometimes specifically taught to use it in ways that are not harmonious with what the back tells us.
Okay, I love this radical thesis. I want to know in the chat, just with a yes, if you're with us live, have you experienced back pain, especially low back pain, let's say within the past year or two? Yeah, or currently, yes. Oh my goodness, Mom, look at that. Yes.
So the course talks a lot about it. I'm going to talk a little bit about it today, how we sit and stand. And then there's a lot of evidence that lower back pain can be related to emotional states. And I know this from personal experience. During a trying period right after the passing of my mom at 94 and a half, I developed severe sciatica. Now, I'm a physical therapist. I've been practicing teaching yoga for decades and decades. I could not find a single position in which I was pain-free. Generally, if it's physical, you can find a position that's pain-free. Lying on your back with your knees bent often helps. very common for lower back pain. I could not escape it until I realized that what I was doing was somaticizing my emotional pain of loss. When we're about to finish with her memorial service was coming up, last thing I was going to do for my mom. And when I really realized that and let go into that sadness and that pain, I had gone to see my body worker, was lying on the plinth waiting for my body worker. And I just started crying and crying and crying. And literally it went away on the table without any physical touching or massaging and it never came back. So the emotional part of lower back pain is real. It might be greater or smaller in any individual case, but it is often, I believe, part of it. I don't know. What do you think about that, Liz?
Yeah, I know that to be true for myself as well. Francis is asking, and I love this question. When you say lower back, Judith, what part of the back are you talking about? Can you be specific?
Yes. And if I could, I would like to bring bones into the conversation.
This is the dramatic reveal.
My new bones. So when we say the lower back, we mean the lumbar spine, the 5 lumbar vertebrae, the sacroiliac joint, possibly the coccyx. So let's go now a little bit into some anatomy. I think that's a perfect moment to do that. The most important thing to know about the vertebral column is that it is in a neutral position when it is in its normal curves. This is apparently a radical thought for many people. It was for me. So that we start with the cervicals. You all know there's 7 cervicals and there's an arch in the back on this side. All right. And then the next 12 are thoracic, and the thoracic has the opposite curve. And then we get to the lumbar, which once again has a normal lumbar curve. And the sacrum, which is immobile, the sacrum, I don't know how to show you, but it sits, yeah, maybe like that. It sits at an angle, 15, 20, 25 degrees or more. It sits at an angle like this. So if you're sitting right now, what is your sacrum doing? It's not at an angle.
Okay, pop quiz, type into the chat. Where would you describe your sacrum right now without moving? Is it tilted forward? Is it tilted backward? Or is it vertical?
From the top, the first sacral that joins with the lumbar. If you're like me right now, I'm doing it. My sacrum is tilted back. It is not in its normal. This is neutral for the sacrum. 20, 25 degrees, sometimes more. It's this angle. It's
okay,
not.
I want to show, because some people are saying forward and back, and I want to make sure everyone, I'm just framing down so you can see me. What would be the sacrum tilted back?
Top of the sacrum we're referring to.
Yeah, or the sacrum vertical, or the sacrum tilted forward. Vertical, back. So tell us, because a lot of people are saying forward, and I don't believe you in the chat. A lot of people are saying vertical, tilted forward, standing, so neutral, says Lisa. Forward, forward, level, forward, 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 vertical, backwards, forward, 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 forward. Because I think we're using, most people when they sit are tilted backward, actually.
Yes. It's a posterior or backward tilt. So round, and you'll feel that now you're sitting more on your lower sacrum and your tailbone, and your top sacrum by the lumbar has gone backwards.
Yes.
Now, in that position, take a breath. Tell us if you had difficulty taking a breath.
Yes.
I know you did. That's because you interfere with the diaphragm. The diaphragm is attached to the upper lumbar and probably T12. It's attached to the, so if you round back and you go into flexion in your lumbar, you're affecting the diaphragm, you're affecting digestion, you're affecting your mood, you're affecting all the muscles of your back, your neck, it changes everything. So the normal and most efficient, meaning lowest metabolic use, easiest position of the lumbar spine is in a curve, and the sacrum is at this angle. The thoracic spine comes backward. This comes forward. So the curves, in fact, the vertebral column, let me put them down. The vertebral column is designed, hang him up, that'll keep him.
Keep him good and tight over there.
The vertebral column is designed to weight bear the most efficiently when you have the discs in between and the facet joints in the back. When all three of those points are touching evenly, you are in a curve. So
yes, I think you need to just reiterate this, Mom, because according to the chat, a lot of people are saying that they're sitting in neutral. This word neutral, I think we need to define, because what I hear you saying is you're defining neutral as the sacrum tilted forward, the top of the sacrum tilted forward.
The angle like this and the lumbar spine curved. And it's not me. I didn't make this up. I make things up, but I didn't make this up. This is anatomy wisdom forever. And you can really see that. We have a couple books to recommend you, but there's one book called The 8 Steps to a Pain-Free Back. And one reason I love that book is phenomenal numbers of pictures of posture. It is really, really a good book. And recently it was pretty inexpensive on Amazon.
Yeah, this book I've been reading it, is transformed the way that I'm sitting and standing. The thing that clicked for me is she talks about, imagine you have a tail like a lion, and when you sit, you need to sit in front of your tail.
Yeah. There's also another book that talks about the emotional component by a man named Sarno, which is lower, I think it's just called lower back pain. Sarno is the doctor.
Healing back pain, the mind-body connection.
And my nephew by marriage actually went to Dr. Sarno and had terrible sciatica. And Dr. Sarno deals a lot, and he's passed now, but he dealt a lot with the emotional component of lower back pain, which I had experience of. My nephew he had bulging discs, but he went to these 3 sessions with Sarno, and Sarno talked to them about their emotional state, and it went away. I mean,
amazing. Okay, there's a question in the chat, how long we have today. We're going until 10 minutes before the top of the hour. So we have 30 more minutes. We're going to finish talking. Yeah. And then move to the mat.
Sure that you understand this is the most important point for now, for your life, forever, for your teaching, for the course, which we love to see you in. The normal state of the column is in a curve because the vertebral bodies are not even. They're like slanted a little bit, so they help create the curve. And you develop your cervical curve when you're an infant, because healthy babies can hold their head up at birth. It used to be thought babies couldn't hold their head up, but they can hold their head up at birth. Because they have to be able to clear their airways. And this starts developing, they're lying on their tummies, and that starts developing the cervical curve. And then when they stand, the thoracic curve and the sacral curve are always in the same position. But the cervical and the lumbar curve is developed when babies pull to standing. And some of the fabulous pictures in the book, 8 Steps
this
to
one.
We can't show that, I don't think, but some of those photos that you see babies just sitting effortlessly with their head directly over their body. and standing, and adults in other cultures with this beautiful back. It's the pictures are, for me, are almost more important than the words. Then they show us, you know, sitting like this.
And
So
it's
anyway,
crazy looking at that book. I now see posture everywhere, and I'm really seeing a lot of forward head everywhere. One sentence answer, Mom. How does all this forward head we're doing because of the phones and the screens affect our lower back?
I think it's the other way around, because we have to look at body position from the bottom up. And if you take your pelvis back, do it now, you have a forward head. So the head, the cervical spine, the head and neck are receiving, not creating. So when the pelvis tips forward, the pubic bone comes down. Please do that with me. Over the body, because you've created the base, the lumbar curve. We seem to have a problem with the lumbar curve in yoga. You always hear people are told to tuck their tailbone in standing. Well, what happens?
While Mom's getting there, I want to see in the chat, list any cues you've said or heard people say that create tucking in standing, for example, standing poses, like lengthen the tailbone down towards the floor. That's one I've heard. Type in a few. Navel towards spine.
Yeah.
That's another word for tucking. Yes, Luann. Elongate the tailbone. Anchor your tailbone down to the earth. Draw your belly in.
Sneaky tucking, folks. Sneaky tucking.
Drop the tailbone. These are all synonyms for tuck your tailbone. Ooh, I like this. Pelvic bone to belly button. Very good.
All right. This is the normal curve. The normal curve is the sacrum and the curve of the lumbar spine. And when you tuck your tailbone, however sweetly you say it, you flatten the curve and you put a lot more weight on the discs in the front. And you actually create instability in standing. Instability, because you're not standing on your bones. They were made to be stood on. So when you tuck, you can see these are lumbar vertebrae. When you tuck, you open the facets in the back. Like
Is
that.
this making sense to people? Can you give a yes in the chat or a...
Yeah. The person's facing this way. And when you tuck, the lumbar spine only now has the front part that's touching and the back part opens. So you're much less stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's saying yes. I'm feeling reassured. They're getting it, Mom.
All right. So let's look now at a couple of poses. Are you ready, Liz?
I'm ready. Teresa says this is revolutionary. I think it is. It really changes my experience, my internal interoceptive experience of my body.
Okay, I'm going to say what many will perceive as a radical statement. In every asana, except the end of deep forward bends, move your pubic bone down.
Okay, I heard you say this at the ranch, at Feather Pipe Ranch in Montana this summer. What about Navasana?
All right, there's another one.
Okay, so there are exceptions. What I just want to say, what Mom is talking about is standing and in back bends primarily, right? You're not talking in forward bends, we might want to tuck. In plank.
Forward bends, you start moving the pubic bone down, but at some point you stop and the back rounds. Yes, I said it, it rounds. It does not stay flat, or you can't, you're not doing a forward bend.
Right.
But let's
okay, I know, but I have heard you teach, for example, Mom, tucking the tailbone in plank pose, which is a different position with gravity.
Yes, you need to do that for the abdominals.
Yeah. Okay, let me pin myself so I stay big while you're talking. Spotlight for everyone.
So let's do Cobra Pose. Now I'm gonna can you like fold up the tail of your white shirt so we can see your sacrum better? Yes. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So now you're doing a back bend. Your knees inward. You can all try this with us. Put your hands under your shoulders. Inhale the breath. Just exhale and don't do anything else. Just draw your shoulder blades down your back. Now, lift up into Cobra Pose. Do not tuck your tailbone. In fact, lift your tailbone up. How does that feel, Lizzie?
Lovely.
So it's really simple. When you're back bending, the lumbar spine has a tremendous amount of back bending. It doesn't show.
Wait. No one can see you. Hold on.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't show very well. The lumbar spine has a tremendous amount of extension, normal extension. And when you tuck the tailbone, you tell the lumbar spine to go into a forward bend, and then you ask your body to do a back bend.
Yeah. Who has heard, give a yes in the chat, who has heard or maybe said to tuck the tailbone in Cobra? So what would the cue be for tucking the tailbone? Instead of lifting the tailbone, it would be press it down towards the earth.
Yeah.
Kathleen
now, would
is
you
saying
stand
yes.
up, Lizzie? We want to see you from the side.
Okay.
And pretend you're lying on the floor. Put your hands up. All right. Like you're going to do Cobra. Does everyone understand what she on a pretend lying down? And you see she has a curve in her lumbar. Now, you pretend you're doing Cobra. Start to bend back and tuck your tailbone. You collapse the chest completely. You feel it?
Yeah.
And it feels yucky on the lumbar.
Yeah.
Now, pretend put your hands a little higher up toward the ceiling. All right. Now you're going back in Cobra, and the pubic bone moves down and the tailbone moves back. And now take Cobra. Now it feels free, like drop your head back. You could even think of doing a dropping back. Yes, excellent.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the difference.
It feels radically different. I've just heard in Cobra, tuck your tailbone. And some people insist that that's what's good for your back. No, she's shaking her head. No.
It's if you watched a child do that, I guarantee you they would not tuck their tailbone. That is an intellectual concept. It says, people say it protects the lower back. No, it confuses the lower back, because you tuck your tailbone and now you can only bend. Just try it sitting down. Tuck your tailbone forward so you're rounded in your lower back. Then you try to back bend. You cannot really back bend. Let the back bend.
So Susan is saying anchor the tailbone, which, if I'm understanding, Mom, that's exactly the opposite of what you're teaching right now.
Correct. So lie on your stomach now and do bow pose for us, Lizzie.
Okay, let's do this. Why are back bends important? I mean, if they feel uncomfortable, why don't we just give up back bending as we age, Mom?
Because our posture is so bad generally. We really need to strengthen the back muscles. We need to open the front chest. We need to bring our head over our body, because we're so forward all the time. We're so forward oriented, visually and manually forward oriented. Now we're going to do bow pose, but wait for a second. I want you to let the knees go as far apart as your body wants them to. Inhale the breath. And when you come up, go straight up from shoulders and knees. Just go straight up. Now, answer me this. Is she tucking her tailbone? No, yes or no. And come down when you need to, Liz. Just type in the chat. No, she's not tucking her tailbone, or yes, she is. Everyone is saying no. That's why I love this back bend, because you cannot do it if you tuck your tailbone.
It's untuckable.
It's untuckable.
Okay. Yes. Oh, there's a lot going on in the chat. Hold on. Let me see. No. So are we engaging our glutes? Brandy wants to know.
Okay, the question is, your glutes get engaged all day long without you telling them to. If you just ask the great servant Hanuman body to do bow pose, since the gluteus maximus is a major hip extensor and your body is smarter than you are, no offense, mine is smarter than me and Lizzie also, you're not alone. when you do that against gravity, your body is so smart. It knows what to do. You don't have to tell it what to do. You could not walk across the room. You could not stand up if you had to tell your body all the things it needed to do. So I believe that practicing for myself and teaching yoga, I like images like fly up from the shoulders and the knees and let your body do what it knows how to do. Very sophisticated. Movement is extremely sophisticated.
Well, that's so true. If I think about how you teach, Mom, you do say a lot of things like that, or you might say, move your right shoulder blade forward, but you don't actually tell us how to do it. You let the students figure it out themselves.
Because your body's smarter than you are. And we have, I believe with asana, we have over intellectualized it.
Oh, yes. There's something in the chat I love from Lenny. This info makes me so happy, Judith, because I've always been fussed at for trying to keep my lower back curved and free. What do you think it is what's the resistance against letting there be a curve in the lower back?
You're asking me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any resistance. I think that maybe we have strayed too far over into the idea of asana as a controlling thing instead of a revealing thing. It's like if you think about the wisdom of the body and revealing the asana, that the asana is there, and when we just turn our attention toward it and we exhale, the asana flowers. It's an invitation that we give the body, not a command.
Ooh, I like that. I really like what Catherine says as a hypothesis. We're afraid to relax the belly.
Yeah, you can't do back bends. You can't do back bends unless the belly lets go. If you had a shirt on that was really tight in the front, like I'll just pull my shirt down, I couldn't bend backward. The shirt has to stretch. The skin has to stretch, the muscles, the organs, everything has to stretch, and you open the front body. Especially, now let's try Cobra one more time. I have a suggestion.
Okay, everyone, I hope you're all down on your bellies with me on the floor.
So the area that you want to open in back bends is pubic bone to navel. So turn the kneecaps in and let your heels fall out. Take any width of your legs. Put the hands, inhale the breath, draw the shoulders down the back. Exhale, come up. And now drag the rib cage, lift, take the bottom rib back toward your heels and up. Do you feel any stretch? Tailbone is up between your pubic bone and your navel.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you want to feel it.
Deep, low belly muscles down there.
Yeah, because the fourth lumbar vertebra, the next to the last one, is at the level of the navel. So if at the level of the navel, you are releasing the front body, that's going to let L4-5 really move, and you're going to be much more comfortable.
Yes, Catherine, I think I know that's what we heard you say. They're correcting the comment. When I say we are afraid to relax the belly, I think so much more than the anatomical control. It's a fear of letting go of control.
So I
think
of the abdomen as an anatomical area and the belly as an emotional area. That's somewhat related. The belly is a different, it has more juice. It's like a fluid word about the energy in our pelvic area, in our belly, like our guts, like
the belly wisdom. So what about Susie? There's been a few comments I definitely want to address, Mom, about lordosis. What about people who have been told they have too much lumbar curve or have students with too much lumbar curve?
All right, you need to stand up, my sweet.
Yes. I need to send the spotlight again.
So stand to the side. Now, you see the angle. Okay. Okay. Bring your shoulders slightly forward. Not that much, not that much, not that much. There we go. Do you see the slant very clearly in the black outline of her sacrum? Okay. First of all, you can't really tell by feeling the spinous processes, those bony parts that poke out on that back of your student. You have to ascertain by the angle of the pelvis. So if you make your hands really flat, Lizzie, and put them right along the pelvic rim, do you see how parallel to the floor that is? Now, if she tucks her tailbone, you see what happens? Now overarch. So, but even now, you know, it's a curved bone, so it's not a, you know, a wall made by an intellectual idea. But when your hands are parallel to the floor, the likelihood is that you have the right lumbar spine arch for you. How does it feel to you, Lizzie?
It feels good. The cue that has helped me a lot in standing is to let go here, to let my pubic bone, instead of lifting up here, to let this pubic bone come down. I do think there's some aesthetic rejection of this standing posture. We think that we look too rounded, or I've had that thought about my body, that I look too rounded or too
but
whatever
actually,
word.
Yes, but actually when you stand in neutral, your abdominal muscles spontaneously, especially the transversus, contract just enough without you telling them.
Yes, and what I can radically say is, since I've started sitting and standing the way that she teaches in this book, I don't have any low back pain, which is with more arch. And I just catch myself when I'm standing at the playground with the twins. I'm just thinking, oh, pubic bone down, less slouching.
Or another thing, if you want to stand in Tadasana, is just think of the base of the breastbone and just lift that up. That'll do it too.
Okay, what about twists? We have 13 more minutes. Can we talk about twists? And can we talk about your favorite Shavasana for lower back pain?
Yes, we'll do that. All right, so I have to get this together. I have 2 lumbar vertebrae. Now, pay attention. This is fascinating. You have this is the front where the disc, and there's a disc in between them. And this is the side, and this is the back of 2 lumbar vertebrae, plastic. And they come together. Do you see how they come together? But look at these parts, the facet joints on this vertebra that join with the facet joints on this vertebra. Do you see how they're vertical, Lizzie?
Somewhat. I would love for you in the future to paint some red nail polish on those so we could see.
Nail polish. All right. Well, that's a good idea. So what that, oops, I got it backwards. So what that means is that, never good at putting this back together. There we go. The lumbar vertebra fit into each other like a dresser drawer. And a dresser, you can pull it out and in, and you can wiggle it, but you cannot twist. So in the entire segment of the lumbar spine, there's maybe 15 degrees total of rotation. So that means about this much. So stand up again, everybody. Stand up again. Hold your pelvis still. Look at me. Hold your pelvis still. Do not move your pelvis. Twist to either side. Minimal twist.
Minimal twist.
Inhale the breath. Exhale. Twist to the same side. Let your pelvis lead you over the hip joints.
Maximal twist.
There you go. There is virtually no twisting in the lumbar. Now, we all say that from the root of your spine, you know, move up, open, spread the energy, rise up toward the clouds, you know, which I call the yoga blah, blah. But that's not what happens. So let's look at Bharadvajasana, if we may.
I want to ask in the chat, did you feel that? Did you feel that when you kept your pelvis still, you didn't twist as far? And is it making sense, the connection? We're moving fast. The connection to the structure of the lumbar vertebra.
And we will
Absolutely.
definitely go into this in the course quite a bit.
It's a little confusing because this session is called Lower Back Love, and the course is called Love Your Lower Back at Lasater.yoga. But Love Your Lower Back, we're going to go through, spend a whole week on the lumbar spine and a whole week on the sacrum. So you're gonna get to understand it in depth. Okay, let me go back to the mat, Barad Vajrasana. You know what I'm gonna do for you because you love this, Mama.
I do love that. I know exactly what you're going to do.
So just putting this down for a little more visual contrast under my Popschi, which is the Austrian German word for bum. So, madam.
All right. Now I want you to face us though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to anchor your pelvis. See, every pose has an anchor. And generally people say in twists, anchor your pelvis, then try to twist.
Mm-hmm. It's the same idea as we did in standing. Yeah, you don't get very
far.
So
the anchor to me is not in the pelvis. The anchor is in the thigh bone or left thigh bone. I call it the back because you're moving away from it. And imagine that thigh bone, as you do this now, is just moving out and down. Inhale your breath. Exhale, let your pelvis twist. Walk back a little bit with your arm. Inhale the breath. Exhale. Now move the belly organs into the twist. Drag the pelvis with you. Spin the lower rib. Walk your hand back a little bit further around into the twist. You can come almost to where you're halfway lying down. Inhale the breath. Exhale. Anchor that front leg. That front leg goes straight towards me. And then drag the pelvis into the twist and come up.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm just going to do.
Where did you feel it before you do that? Tell us where you felt it, Lizzie.
I felt it in my rib cage.
Yeah. You didn't feel it in your sacroiliac joint. You didn't feel it in your spine. You felt it in your organs. You felt it in the side of your hip, maybe, or the rib cage. Inhale the breath. Exhale completely. Don't do this if you're pregnant, but exhale completely. Drag the belly organs, the deep pelvic organs, the belly organs. Imagine them going first and then the pelvis following that. And it's as if you're going to walk around all the way to your back foot, anchoring firmly from the thigh, moving it out, letting the pelvis rotate over the thigh, just like it does it standing forward bend. And you're going to feel it in a different place, probably.
Yeah, on that side, I felt it in the deep abdominal.
Yeah, the psoas.
Yes. Okay. Did anyone feel that? Did anyone like that? Was that different? So clear, the beautiful alignment and ease. Thank you. Love the thigh cueing. There's Ronnie. Janie says, from my time with Judith, the pelvis is everything and twists are the most phenomenal insight. This way of doing them. The hips go along for the ride. Exactly. Exactly. So delicious. Much deeper and more twisty, Susan. Yes. Got deeper, amazing, delicious. Is the back thigh the anchor or the front one? Laura wants to know, Mom.
Okay, if you're turning to the right, you're moving away from the left thigh. That's the anchor.
Sandra's asking, does the bum lift off the floor?
Just think of moving your pelvis.
Yeah. Absolutely, says Diane. Love going all the way around and down. Such freedom. When
we move from the natural intelligence of the body, which is what I call alignment, when we move from alignment, the chances of injury are greatly, greatly, greatly reduced, and the chances of enjoyment are greatly, greatly, greatly increased. When we follow the natural laws of movement that the body understands and the brain refuses to accept, when we follow those laws, the chance of injuring ourselves or our students is hugely decreased. Alignment before range. Alignment before range is one of my basic teaching principles.
Okay, I'm going to show the Shavasana now, and then we have to jump off, unfortunately. I've just put 2 links into the chat. One of them is our new course, Love Your Lower Back. We hope you'll join us this fall. Starts October 9th. Special early bird pre-enrollment pricing until then. I've also put the link for office hours, which starts in 45 minutes. It's our 15 minutes. It's our 100th episode. Mom has been teaching us consistently. We have never missed a month for 100 months. It's an hour-long conversation. It's $25 if you'd like to jump in. Today, in 15 minutes, we're talking about, the theme is fantastic from Mom. It's 53 things I've learned in 53 years of teaching yoga. Yes, Marcy's coming. They're so excited in the chat. 53 things I've learned in 53 years of teaching yoga. It's a really wonderful list that I hope you'll join us for. So anything you want to say about that, Mom, before I show the Shavasana?
No, but I know what they're all thinking. She doesn't look old enough to have taught for 53 years. I know that's what everyone's thinking, right? Okay, go do it.
So the Shavasana that Mom recommends for low back people is pose number 18 in this wonderful book, Restore and Rebalance, her restorative book. It's called Stonehenge Shavasana. You have a yes in the chat if you know Stonehenge, if you love Stonehenge. If you're a Stonehenge fan, what we do is we take
a group of stones in northern UK that no one knows how they got there. They don't belong in there, and they have some great spiritual significance. I love the idea of it. And it's when you put the 2 blocks in the bolster, it looks like the Stonehenge rocks with the posts and the lintel, not the lentils you eat, but the lintel that's the crossbar at the top. So just for fun, I call this Stonehenge Shavasana.
I've put the blocks like this, matching blocks holding up my firm bolster. And then I place my knees over so that the feet droop a little bit. I'm using a pillow from my couch, or you can do a fancy restorative yoga blanket fold. And then as you come down, this is really key, to pause on your elbows. And what do you do with your lower back, your sacrum here, Mom?
You lift it up and you put it right down in the center. So you're lying exactly on the center. And the knees are completely supported. I think you're too far from the bolster. I want the heels a little lower. More.
I think I'm going to have to lower the blocks if you want that. Let's see what that looks like.
I like that.
Okay.
Your eyes, your imaginary eye bag.
What I'm using is a cloth from my kids, one of their dadas, and I've just wrapped it around here, and I'm using a pillow. The arms come wide. If I were practicing for any length, we recommend 20 minutes. I would cover myself up with a blanket and I would put on socks.
Would you open the arms a little wider? I just want to get them started with a few images, Lizzie.
Okay.
Release the jaw. You know where home is. Go into your body and find your home. Take a breath. And then I'd love it if you all would stay here past when we sign off. But here's what I want you, and here's what I would suggest that you focus on now in this Shavasana. Open to gratitude in the center of your chest. Gratitude for every person and every event in your life, because every person you've interacted with, just for a moment or for your whole life, and every event that you've experienced from every moment of your entire life has brought you to this moment. Dwell in this moment. There is no other place. There is no other time. So you're all welcome to stay. Lizzie is going to, when you come out, please roll to the side and lie there for a few moments. But I really beg of you, if you have the time, to go home away from your busy mind, do that.
We want to say thank you so much, first of all, to you, Mama, for teaching us, for sharing your 53 years of wisdom and light. Thank you for always taking this material seriously, but having a good time while you do it.
Thank you so much, Lizzie, for all you do. As my business partner, but you're the perfect daughter for me. And I love you very much. Thank you.
I love you too. Lots of love to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. The recording will go out tomorrow on my YouTube, Lizzie Lasater YouTube channel. It'll also go out via our newsletters, so you can catch it there. Join us on September 10th with the great Mary Richards, and please jump into the course. Love your lower
into
back.
The course and go back and get on your mat. Stop texting us.
Yeah. And if you reply to any of the emails that came to you from Zoom, they should come to me if you have any questions about Love Your Lower Back. We're going to have a lot of fun this fall in that course with Mama and Mary. Goodbye, everyone.
Love across the skies.
Bye. Bye, Mama. I'll see you in office hours.
Bye.
10 minutes. Bye.